this event for the first time. And we believe it was crucial that South Africa be part of this key gathering, which highlights the power of collaboration in innovation and investment between Africa and Europe. South Africa is undoubtedly one of the continent's technology leaders, fueled by an exceptional dynamic. Two of our major innovation hubs, Cape Town and Johannesburg, are proudly ranked among the top 5 tech ecosystems in sub-Saharan Africa. These cities are the beating heart of a vibrant ecosystem composed of leading investment funds, private actors who are passionate about tech, renowned incubators and accelerators all around the country, prestigious universities and research centers in Johannesburg and in Cape Town. So this favorable environment, which is coupled with political stability and a very robust financial sector, creates the perfect foundation for the growth of innovative businesses. So whether you are a startup looking for a new market or an investor seeking opportunities, please be sure that South Africa is full of projects to explore and develop. And together, we can strengthen our ties and build a shared future based on innovation and cooperation. So South Africa is open for business, South Africa is waiting for you, and we are expecting you as soon as possible. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you a fruitful event.
Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to this session. It was introduction words from our ambassador, David Martinon, His Excellency, the Ambassador of South Africa, Lesotho in Malawi. Today we are gathered to talk about social innovation in the Southern Africa region, a region that I believe we don't talk enough about. And to talk about this subject, which is, I think, amazing, I have with me some experts. And I will let them talk because they will introduce themselves and they will explain way better than I do the amazing work that they do. But I just want to say, like, for the past few months, we've been working with them on a project, social innovation project called Enough for Good. And the aim of this project is to help the local ecosystem of social innovation here, but also to bring social innovation from Malawi in South Africa to France, to allow them to showcase what they do and what the region has to offer. So without further ado, I will let the floor to you. And just quickly to start, could you just briefly introduce yourself and the work that you do in South Africa and Malawi? Because for the first time, we have a Malawian representative here.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think we should be proud of this. So, Katusha.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Katusha de Villiers, and I work for the University of Cape Town. I'm located at our Graduate School of Business, and I work at a specialized unit called the Bertha Center for Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship. I lead our health systems innovation portfolio, but we also work in areas of youth development, education, finance. This year, for the first year, we've established a climate portfolio, and we research, we teach, and we work with partners like the French Embassy and others across the continent and globally.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elijah MKANDAWIRE. I'm from Malawi, precisely Lilongwe, where I'm running a hub. It's a tech innovation, but also entrepreneurship space. The first of its kind in Malawi. We established in 2014, and this year we're celebrating our 10th year anniversary. So pretty much we are supporting startups with different kinds of support, ranging from business coaching, mentorship, but also co-financing. And personally, I'm pursuing a PhD in management studies, and I'm glad to connect with you here. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christine TAPHEL, and I am the CEO of RLabs South Africa. RLabs is a reconstructed living lab. It's a social enterprise, bound to be exact. That when people start, they begin to look, and we believe that people build the products and services, and our role is to help them scale. So yeah, thank you.
Bonjour. I am Itumeleng Dlamini from the South African Breweries Foundation. We are a corporate foundation, which is also part of AB InBev, a global beer company. We are one of few corporate foundations that focus on social innovation and entrepreneurship. And so we invest in social innovation that primarily focuses on supporting and empowering women, youth, people with disabilities, as well as people in rural areas or marginalized communities. We do so through the provision of innovative financing, as well as business development support and technical support to social enterprises in South Africa only. But what we have found is that majority of the social innovations that we have funded have been able to scale across the African continent.
Great, and that's a great transition for the question that I want to ask you. Could you share, like you're talking about the project that we're able to scale across the continent, could you share the project with us and the impact and yes, how they were able to go in other countries?
Great. So we don't have enough time, so I'm going to just share one project, which interestingly lends itself in Katusha's domain. It's a health tech innovation that we funded called Vula Mobile. So what the app does is really it exists to enable quality quality health access to people in rural areas as well as people in marginalized communities. And how they do that is through working with primary healthcare workers and enabling them to then refer special cases to specialists, and thereby, cutting or eliminating a lot of the red tape and time and funding that is then required to take those patients to the next level. And what they've been able to do is work across a couple of African countries where they've been able to register over 30,000 healthcare workers. And they've also been able to refer 1.6 million cases to specialists or specialists in emergency units or outpatient or various kind of specialist domains across the continent. So what we've seen, and actually I want to appeal to the people in the room here, is that this innovation has done significantly well in terms of scaling. We supported it initially from pre-revenue stage, so provided the kind of funding to enable them to do R&D and to test the model and test the actual application and enable them to then get onto the market. But they require financing to scale into other African countries. The demand is there, the financing is not adequate. And so I think that's where partners like the ones in the room, on this panel, yourselves, can come on board and enable the ability for them to grow exponentially and improve millions of lives across the African continent.
That's a beautiful story. And Katusha Itumeleng just mentioned you. Do you have also a project to share with us?
Yes, of course. And I love the example of Vula because the founder, Will Mapham, an ophthalmologist, actually worked on Vula from the Graduate School of Business at UCT. So just goes to show that the space in South Africa, we're all good friends. So yeah, just to sort of pick up on that thread of the role of universities in fostering social innovation and entrepreneurship, we are currently engaging on a large-scale project, a multi-year project, 10 years for us at the University of Cape Town, with the MasterCard Foundation and 8 other African universities. It's called the African Higher Education Collaborative. And it's a nice example of universities as systems change agents in promoting social innovation and entrepreneurship specifically. As we all heard in the plenary, Africa has a very young population. We also have along with that, a high incidence of unemployment. South Africa has extremely high youth unemployment rate. So what is the role of universities in sort of addressing issues like this? Also addressing issues where we don't have enough specialists to look after our population. Just one example is that there are only 50 pathologists across the African continent. So we have a real deficit in how we address healthcare needs. So what we're doing is we are working to address health education, health entrepreneurship, and health employment, specifically for youth and for women. And it's a way in which we can learn from other universities, best practices, come together and share. And it's really exciting to have a partner like MasterCard Foundation who's funding us for 10 years. I mean, it's very rare to get that kind of funding for us to be able to sort of explore these different ways of thinking and doing. And at the business school, one way in which we're doing that is through a venture program. We're looking at that in 2 phases. There are boot camps where we go to township and peri-urban settlements, and we are looking to recruit young people. In South Africa, youth is up to the age of 35. So youth up to the age of 35 who perhaps have not even graduated from high school or let alone from university, and running them through a program where they learn about entrepreneurial skills, they learn about co-designing and design thinking, and then at the end of the week that we run them through this program, they pitch their health idea. So that's like pre early stage. And then we have early stage, which is called venture launch, where we work with health entrepreneurs who are looking for seed funding to get them to kind of that next phase. So those are ways in which we're hoping to kind of stimulate the system a little bit, especially when it comes to the healthcare environment.
Great, thank you. Elijah, I would love to have your opinion about it, because Malawi is a smaller country, but you also have like great innovation, great social innovation. So could you share with us some initiatives or projects that you find the most promising in your country?
Yeah, great. Yes, Malawi is a smaller ecosystem. And in my own words, I define it as the ecosystem is a bit more in its virgin or in its infancy stage. We're just actually like starting and trying to grow, drawing a lot of lessons from other mature ecosystems like South Africa, but also in the East Africa, for example, like Kenya. But nonetheless, there's some interesting things that are happening in the country. And pretty much the audience that is here might be interested even to come in and invest in some of the things that we are doing. And as MHub, I'm glad being the chief executive, we are one of the pioneers that are actually pushing in some of those interesting things. So pretty much I'll talk about the co-financing kind of like support. That is quite enormous thing back in Malawi, and that's what we've been doing. Because a lot of youths in the country, just like in South Africa, they're quite unemployed. So the better option is for them to venture into businesses. But now here they are, a lot of them don't have actually capital which they can use in their businesses. So we do actually design our programs by providing a combo of a support. So this comes in the form of financial support, like the grants that we provide to them. But besides providing these grants, we make sure that we have also equipped them with the necessary skills and knowledge. So that is about the technical support that we render to them through the last trainings that we conduct for these particular startups. But also we make sure that we are mentoring them. So we make sure that we pair our startups with the appropriate mentors that could actually handhold them in the course of journeying through the entrepreneurial ambitions and endeavors. But also we do what you call like the catalytic support. These are like also one-on-ones kind of like support to our startups so that they can actually grow. Pretty much at MHub, we have also been very good in terms of providing the co-working space for a lot of emerging entrepreneurs. Infrastructure development is a bit challenging in Malawi, so our co-working space actually, rather our co-working space eases that particular burden on these particular entrepreneurs. Very small, but yeah, we are trying our level best to accommodate those that we could be able to accommodate. And reaching this far, I would say that we have actually dispersed over 2 million USD in terms of like grant financing. This is courtesy of one of the big programs that we had, whereby each entrepreneur was able to get about 40,000 USD. We're calling it as the Growth Accelerator, and we're running it together with Loyal Norwegian Embassy, but also UNDP Malawi office. Yep, thank you.
Do you have an example of a startup that you have supported that you can share with us?
Come again?
Do you have an example of a startup?
Example?
Yes.
Yeah, I have examples, but yeah, of course I can mention them by the names, but pretty much will not be able to know them. But maybe just going by the sectors, Malawi being an agrarian economy, most of the ventures or entrepreneurs or startups that we have supported and are doing good have been those that are in agri value chain. But also what has amazed me is that most of them actually that have been resilient have been female-led ventures, unlike male-founded or male-led businesses. Yeah, so a lot of women that are running their agri businesses have been so resilient. The support that we give unto them, for example, like the grant financing, we don't give them like once off the money, but it's in tranches and is milestone based and is budget based. So their subsequent tranches are dependent on how they have utilized the very first tranche of the money. Yeah, so pretty much those in our agri-value chain have been doing good. A bit of the fintechs as well as very few in our health sector. Good.
Okay, thank you, Elijah. During his video, the ambassador said like South Africa is one of the most promising country and one of the leaders on the continent. Itumeleng, I would like to have your opinion on that. And in your view, what are the key factors that make this country a fertile ground for the emergence of social innovation?
Well, South Africa, similar to other African countries, has a lot of social challenges. Inequality being one of them, unemployment as well as poverty. And so that really presents a fertile ground for innovation, right? And what we're seeing is that young people are coming up with very creative solutions to addressing some of these challenges that we're facing as a country and as a continent at large. Majority of them are educated, and they have either worked in a corporate environment or are living in townships and rural areas and are experiencing the actual issues. So they are very much close to the problem that they're facing. And so that's why they're coming up with innovative solutions. And then they even able, because of their technical ability, able to then develop the apps or whatever services or products to try and solve some of the issues that they're facing. The challenge, though, because we've already established that we have a lot of challenges and a lot of problems, right? The challenge is that the solutions that are emerging do not have the right kind of support to take them to the next level. So what we're seeing in South Africa, and I know it is an issue across the African continent, is that we don't have a lot of investment that is risk averse. That wants to invest at a very early stage to kind of get entrepreneurs to test some of these ideas, to test and fail possibly, or to even invest in the R&D process of getting this to the next level. And that's where we're losing a lot of innovation. A lot of young people are giving up because no one is willing to provide that kind of support. So if we can see a lot more investors investing in that space instead of entrepreneurs moving to other countries, or what we've seen a lot is them moving into the global north countries to get investment, to test some of those, and then come back to the country. If we don't see a lot of that investment going in early stage, then we're not going to find innovative solutions that are going to address some of these issues. And we are very much risk averse as a foundation. We have invested a lot in early stage, mostly pre-revenue stage. But what we're looking for is someone who's going to come with us along the journey to then provide the kind of investment and even the kind of support, whether it's technical or business skills or investment readiness, to take these innovations to the next level. So I think that is the biggest issue that we are facing as a country.
Thank you. And this is a major issue. And I would like to know, Christine and Elijah, regarding this issue, like the load shedding, the infrastructure, the risk-averse investors ecosystem, how do you support your entrepreneurs? How do you, for some people that maybe are coming from the township, how do you make sure that they have the proper support to develop their business?
I'll take that one first. I absolutely love that I get to work on the ground and in the communities, and it's really, we serve our audience is really the people that we work with is the underserved communities. And so just as you asked, what are some of the support that we grant our community, is of course infrastructure. We would provide, we also have a co-working space. Our community is welcome to come and actually work in our space, because we find with these entrepreneurs and innovators, they actually need a space where they can build their ventures, and that's one of the things that we provide. Also, we match them with industry experts. I think that's very important, but also with mentors, and so specifically to address the inequalities, and then one of the other things is we also provide business support, development or services, and grants. We've just very recently, in the beginning of this year, we launched a fund, a RLabs fund, a venture fund specifically for the township businesses. And so, and that is of course to give our entrepreneurs access. That's basically how we address that and support our entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so just to supplement to what Christina has actually shared, I was amazed and thrilled when I visited Nosken in Kigali, Rwanda, looking at the fantastic work which they are doing in terms of providing the co-working space to the startups. So back in my country, it's a model which I also began actually implementing at our hub. Electricity issues have been a bit problematic. Of course, now there's an improvement in Malawi, but still it's a challenge. Access to internet, it's still also a problem because the rates are quite expensive in the country. So these are some of the issues that the upcoming entrepreneurs actually struggles with. But also to find a space like to rent an office in the CBD, very expensive in the country. So We have been actually trying to ease all these burdens on these startups by actually accommodating them at a very reasonable rates and ensuring that they have an access to electricity 24/7, powered by actually the solar alternatives so that they're not disrupted in case of the power outages. But also, as mentioned earlier, we have been very focal and quite emphatic in terms of providing the technical support. So I'm talking about the digital skills training that we have also been actually conducting, because besides being an entrepreneur support organization, ESO, MHub will also been quite very good in terms of being the first tech hub in the country. So I have a very dedicated tech unit within my space that is responsible for developing web-based systems, but also applications. So we try also to ensure that that kind of a skill is also embedded in our startups by growing them, by inculcating in them the necessary tech skills. So we do also conduct the digital skills training to ensure that they're integrating these skills in the course of running their different businesses. So pretty much this has actually stood out to be one of the best kind of like support that you could lend to them, and we are seeing them growing, accelerating, and becoming well-established businesses. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So if I summarize, you support them through access to electricity, but also to digital skill and also to funds, which is really great. But I have a question now for you, Katusha Itumeleng. What is your long-term vision for social projects in Southern Africa? And what role do you see for international partnership?
Oh, okay, well, that's really big. I think, in the plenary, the comment was made that Africa's not a monolith, right? We're 54 countries, 54,000 different kinds of problems and whatnot. So, but within that, there are so many opportunities for learning and creating and not being afraid to try and fail. And I think that's something that social innovation really responds to that. Social innovation is which we can, if I'm thinking about it from a health perspective, it's a way in which we can move closer to achieving health equity. So if you think social innovation is really uplifting new solutions and putting them on the global scale, that for me would be one of the hopes for innovation in Southern Africa. I think part of that as well is recognizing that there's a real bias against the global South and the bias is for the global North, right? I mean, even those terms are a little bit problematic. So my hope is the recognition that we don't necessarily need to import global North solutions. We have the solutions we need on the African continent, and what we need is for that to be recognized and that to be celebrated, and when big funders or big implementers come in, we don't need their solutions. It's not a cut and paste. We need them to work hand in hand with African innovators. There's a great health innovation actually from South Africa that it's the Palani Mentor Mothers model, where they work with mothers. It's based on positive deviance. So mothers in townships or in other areas who are able to be successful in raising their children, and they go and do home visits and they are able to support other young mothers in their communities. That has now been taken and implemented in Sweden, in refugee populations. So that's a great example of a global South innovation going to the global North. But again, it's not in Swedish populations, it is in a refugee population in Sweden. So I think that's like the next step. And I think that's my hope for social projects and social innovation across Africa, is the recognition that we can add so much to the global discourse, and we have innovations and we have interventions that are valuable in areas other than Africa as well.
I love that, just what you said. That's really important. And yes, Christine and Itumening, I would love to have your thought on that.
Okay. So, I mean, I think as an investor in this space, and hopefully some of you are investors here, my hope is that you will take a long-term approach to investing in social innovation. So what we're seeing, there's a lot of short-termism where you invest a very small amount and you expect results tomorrow or in the next month. And so my advice would be think long-term, invest a significant amount of money in the long term, and there is an opportunity to scale. So what we're witnessing and what we're seeing in our work, and I'm sure my panel can attest to this, is that a lot of the locally, well, South African or Southern Africa developed innovations have that global appeal. So whatever is developed can be scaled into other African countries. And so there's an opportunity for exponential growth from an investment perspective. And so we really need to be looking at that because it's not really country specific, but the issues are similar. And so if you invest in these local innovations, there's definitely that opportunity. And also customize your financing approaches, right? So, providing a grant is amazing initially to enable innovators to test their model and test the market and, before going commercially into the market. But also then adjusting your financing approaches when the business grows and looking at other mechanisms like interests and, there's a variety, there's a myriad of options available. But let's not look at just one type of financing, let's expand that and really customize it according to the business that you're funding. I think maybe let me stop there so I can allow my colleague to add to what I'm saying.
So thank you so much for that, Itumeling. So I mean, for most Southern African, entrepreneurs, our vision is always to create initiatives or businesses that is addressing a socioeconomic, impact or specific change, and so that's not going to change, because our people, I mentioned it earlier, and of the panelists too, that our people, they are the problem experts, and so they be creating from that, and there are so many challenges, and so there's a lot of innovation to be done. And just, for investors, I think it's important to invest in good infrastructure. It can be logistical, it could be digital, but also specifically in renewable energy, allowing for the entrepreneurs or the innovators to thrive in the local markets, because I think that's very important. But also thriving, but also to become competitive, or to be competitive in the local markets, I think is imperative. And then, just thinking of international partnerships in specifically, I think resources is absolutely important, but also I think visibility for our entrepreneurs is imperative too. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and if I can add, what I find is that our ecosystem is very fragmented, and it's maybe probably the case in Europe, I don't know. But there is an opportunity to kind of invest in some type of coordination. And I think that's where some of these international partnerships potentially come in, because a lot of the innovators don't really know who is providing support at what stage. And so if we were really well coordinated, then it would really really empower the entrepreneurs or the social innovators to know where to move to when they need and who's providing the type of support that they need at that particular stage of their business. So that's something that is understated. I think we don't talk about it a lot, but really having a well-coordinated ecosystem could catalyze innovation and potentially catalyze growth across the continent.
Could I add to that?
Yes, let's go.
Because I think that's so important. I think what you're also getting at is this concept of sort of radical collaboration. But what are the incentives for that collaboration? Right now, we're sort of being incentivized to collaborate. It's for individual innovation versus collaborative innovation. So looking for those specific funding, I mean, maybe this is the appeal, you know. Are there funders out there that are interested in you know, specific funding for collaboration? Yeah.
Okay, Elijah, I'm just turning to you because everyone has something to add, so I just want to make sure it's okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay, perfect. That's great because we are near the end of this session. And so, in what words, one thing that our audience should remember, what should it be?
Oh, you asked us this before.
Yes.
So mine would be 2 words. Mine would be radical storytelling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it would be the gaps that are existing in our ecosystem back in Malawi. But now from the other side of the coin, that depicts a lot of opportunities that are there. Because if you turn the gaps into the other side, it simply means loss of opportunities. So if there is a destination for a lot of investment in the tech innovation, but also entrepreneurship ecosystem, then I would say that Malawi is one of the best. So yeah, if there are investors here, yeah, let's have a brief talk, hoping that you can come in Malawi and invest something there. Thank you.
One word you said.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I have to choose a word today, it's going to be resilience. Yeah, that's good. My word. Okay, I'm not going to resilience.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to cheat. Mine is one sentence. There's no lack of innovation.
Yeah.
There's a lack of appropriate financing and support. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Great conclusion. But just to have the last word, I hope today's session has given you a glimpse of South African and Malawian innovation. As you might heard, there is a lot of things to do there and a lot of opportunity and even innovation from the southern region that can be brought to Europe. And that's what we're going to do in the next months, because some of South African and Malawian innovation will participate to Change Now, to allow them to showcase the solution and also to pitch in front of some investors. So it will be a great opportunity to them and to this country to showcase what they have to offer to the rest of the world. And yes, I encourage everyone to keep the conversation, to explore some partnership, because yes, global partnerships is, I think, kind of the key to favorize the innovation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No questions? We're not taking questions? Are we not taking questions?
I think we don't have enough
okay.
time.
No.